Welcome back once again to Season 4 of the podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Blackwood. As many of you know, I wrote my autobiography as a survivor of human trafficking. It's called Custom Justice. But if you didn't know, you do now. Keeping in line with that, this entire season and last season has been focused on interviewing people who did or planned to write about their own experiences as trauma survivors and how they overcame the past. And as much as we all hate commercials, they are a necessary evil these days. This is what keeps the show on the air. You can also show your support by purchasing one of my mini books or donating through PayPal or leaving a review on whatever platform you listen to this podcast on. You can find the links for the books or donation options in the podcast description. As always, a portion of the proceeds go to local organizations that help fight human trafficking. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. It is me, Amanda Blackwood, back yet again this week. I have with me for a very special episode for November 11th. Who out there doesn't know what November 11th is? It is Veterans Day. Also, my dear friend Mark's birthday. Today, I have a Lieutenant Colonel Jason Pike. He was in the military for 31 years, and he's got quite the history. 9 years overseas, 5 countries. But what a story this Lieutenant Colonel has. I am super excited to bring him on the show and have him share his story with you and to share a little bit more details about what it is that he's done with his life and the book that he's written and all of the stuff that he has seen and done, because, wow, it's incredible. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you very much. I'm very proud. I'm very honored to be on your show.
I am excited to get to know you. You've had, pardon my language, a hell of a ride.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you've heard way worse than that, especially being in the military. But I don't typically speak worse than that in my own life.
Okay.
So where are you originally from? Where did you grow up?
I'm from a small town called Fingerville, South Carolina. Really, that's a town called Fingerville. It's a very small town, and it's in the northern part of the state of South Carolina, rolling hills, Piedmont, and I was from the country. I'm from the country, a country boy, and a country boy can survive, I guess. So that's where I'm from. Yeah.
Wow. I've never heard of it. So, of course, that's a really good indicator that it's a tiny place. What made you want to join the military?
Oh, at the time, I didn't feel there was nothing else I could do because I had failed the first grade. Academically, I was challenged. I still am academically. Reading and writing are my worst subjects. Oh, by the way, I'm an author of a book, but that's a different story. No, really, I thought that the counselors and the teachers and even the parents kind of, you know what, you ain't going to be. And the SAT scores, the entrance exam scores to the college, they proved that I couldn't go. So the military was sort of the option at the time. That's kind of why I chose it. And yeah, where I'm from in Fingerville, South Carolina, or in that area, it's very patriotic, and that's just something that we do. It's not. I mean, we just look up to military, and that's just kind of how I thought about things at the time. Yeah.
Right. And it totally makes sense. You know, my father was from upstate New York in the Catskill Mountains, also a very patriotic area. And they looked up to service members. My grandfather was in the Navy. My father joined up in the Air Force at the very end of Vietnam.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It's pretty cool when you grow up in that kind of a neighborhood and that kind of a township, I got to say. You kind of feel like this camaraderie. Even if you're not a part of the military yet, you're still a part of that family.
Yes, and it really depends on wherever you could. There are certain places you can say, well, I'm in the military. Like you meet a girl, I'm in the military. Oh, get out of here. And then the other places you can go to, I'm in the military. Oh, you're automatically a hero. And so, oh, wow. Well, I want to go to those places where those girls think I'm a hero. They'll introduce me to their father and stuff. So, yeah, it really is regional area type of thing.
Yeah, I absolutely can hear that. So you went through some stuff in the military. Kind of briefly, you mentioned something about some backstabbing, ghostlighting, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
What happened? How did everything go so sideways for you?
Yes, and I was a senior guy in the military. I'd already accomplished a whole lot of things. I was a
Yeah.
lieutenant colonel. I was in South Korea as a place that we go to for assignments and things. And I had been senior. I had been recently promoted to a lieutenant colonel. A lieutenant colonel would be a senior person in the military. Well, what happened was I pissed a few people off by telling some senior people that I didn't care to publish material of research. I didn't care to go that route. Now, it was a professional discussion about my job and their job and what I felt that I could do contribute. And everybody has a territory. Everybody has a niche, I guess, in life, and there are, or territorial. And I walked on I stepped on a few toes telling some folks that were in powerful positions that I didn't care to do publications of papers, and that was more of a professional thing. But they took it personal, and they went ahead and tried to ghostlight my ass and throw me under the bus. Take me. It's called the takedown. I never, I'd been around. I had been in lots of situations, even up to that time, and I never knew the games that could be played in the government or in the army or in the military at a senior level that I was at. It was a broadside. So it was something that I had never been through, and it was all total bullshit that occurred over more than 2.5 years, I guess, over there in South Korea. So, and that was just that's where I was located at, and me and my family were there. Well, okay. So what happened was in the beginning they said, "Well, you know what? I think you're a pedophile." It means,
Oh,
so once they said that to me, it says we're gonna, if you're a pedophile, we're gonna, you ain't gonna be any good in the military. We're gonna get your ass. And I've never wanted to kill anybody really. I mean, we're trained to kill in the military, but that's just our profession. But I'm talking about a personal level of killing. And once they said that shit, it really pissed me off, and I thought I was gonna lose my mind. I've never been angry to the point of almost passing out and seeing red.
mm,
And once they said that bitch, she didn't even have a damn child. She never grew up. So what I'm saying is, like, when they accused me of that, and then the rumor went around. It went around the damn town of the little base we were on that I'm a damn pedophile. I was like, oh my God, people looking at me and even my wife a little differently. And I says, no, you just want to go and beat the shit out of some people, and you can't do that because if they're willing to go to that game, what are they going to? And so you're having to, like, hold back your emotions and things of that nature. Well, bottom line is that was just a rumor, and it went around and then it went away. And then when it didn't work, then I faced a year later a federal investigation of spying. I was considered someone who was a spy to the government. I was someone who had been. They thought that I would been. Now this was a formal accusation. The pedophile crap was just a rumor, and that hurt a lot. But then once that didn't work, they went ahead and did another thing, and which was subversion and espionage against the U.S. government. So this was a formal charge. It went through a hotline. Someone anonymously put some bullshit out there through a hotline. A hotline is a way of communicating to authorities that there's something going on. It could be sexual deviancy, it could be spying, it could be criminal activity. It's a way to try to notify authorities that you might want to check somebody out, even though you don't have any proof about it. But false accusations, they can fuck up people. They can screw people's lives up, and that's what happened. And with that particular accusation that was formal, I had to go face the Criminal Investigation Division of the U.S. Army and also military intelligence of the U.S. Army. What it was is they said, you're coming up on the hill on Yongsan Garrison, South Korea. We're going to take you up there. We're gonna. They had two rooms. They had me in one room and my commander in the other room, and they had two sets of CID, Criminal Investigation Division of the U.S. Army, and two sets of MI and military intelligence. They're going to brief both of us at the same time and the same kind of location right next to each other on what's going to happen and what I was going to face. All right. So once they got through with that message, they told me, hey, we think that you've been passing on secrets to foreign nationals. You've been doing something illegally. You're going to, do you want to, they asked me if I wanted a defense attorney. And I said, hell yeah, I want a defense attorney. This is a bunch of goddamn bullshit. Y'all, and it really pissed me off. But they were just the messengers at the time I was being broadsided. And, I'd already been under a pedophile, just a rumor, and that didn't work. Now I'm facing this damn Saida, subversion and espionage, and I knew who was behind it. I kind of knew who I pissed off. But, if people are going to go to this level to play games, I've never been in that type of game ship before. And I just didn't know what to do. I went to the defense attorney. The defense attorney asked me, "Are you sure you haven't been doing anything?" And I says, "No, I haven't." He says, "Well, what's going to happen now is these guys are going to be following your ass around. That's their job. Their job is to apparently they have evidence to believe that you've been doing something bad to the U.S. government, passing on information, and they're going to follow you around. They're going to monitor you. They're going to do all kind of crap." And that's what happened for the next two. And so even though it was total bullshit, but they had to do their job. And at the time, I was pissed off at them, but I was pissed off. I kind of knew who was at the bottom of it, but I didn't have any proof. And I had been, you've been like blindsided, and you don't even know what to do, and you become paranoid. You got anxiety attacks. You got
Mhm.
high blood pressure. You got your thoughts racing through your mind, and And then I talked. To. I mean, no, as far as pet. I mean, yes, pedophilia. Yes, I go eat lunch with my daughter at the school. Yes. And yes, I am a playful father with all the kids. I love kids. I'm a great father. And I do, yeah, I play with them. I go out with them, kick soccer and do things. But with the Saida subversion and espionage, hell, there was nothing there at all. I mean, and there was nothing there. There was nothing anywhere. So these were events that occurred in one chapter of my life, which was hell to me.
Right.
I mean, and I was a very accomplished person at that time with a lot of badges, a lot of awards, that most of them, and so a lot of deployments. And I don't know the only term, take under the bus or throw under the bus, or I don't. I mean, in teenage, I kind of think of it as teenage girls. They have a clique or a group, and they want to throw you out or something. This is at a senior level, though. This was at a senior level. So, in the military or in the government, you can't really get rid of people unless you have hideous accusations. Hideous. I mean, it's not just that this guy doesn't know what he's doing, or maybe this guy's an asshole, or maybe he's not performing well. We're talking about you have to go to certain levels of craziness to try to get that person out, or to either kick him out, or to transfer the trash, pass in the trash. So basically, none of it worked. None of it came to fruition at all. But it still was a dagger in me. It played on my mind for a long time, and that was kind of that situation. But if you, I can follow up with any questions the viewers or you might have on how those
Yeah.
things occur. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's insane to think of. Somebody just got rubbed the wrong way. Somebody just got mad, so they started making up all these crazy accusations about you. I've got a friend of mine that almost lost custody of her child because of somebody doing the same thing. Unfounded accusations can absolutely destroy a person's entire life.
There's no
It's
doubt. Yeah. Oh yeah.
man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It did. I mean, and it's not just me, but they're also like poking at. So my wife, there were people looking at her like, "Oh my God, you're like," they had those thoughts, and so you could tell that we were considered different. I'm
Right.
not, and so they're attacking me. You're. I mean, with a guy, I don't know, but you just want to go like you want to blow people up and you want to kill them, and that's the anger that I had. And I have never been put, we've all got angry about things, but I have never in my life gotten pushed to a point where I was going to literally, burn stuff down, kill people. And it's not just for that day. And it's not just for that week. It is for years that I would dream about it and fantasize about it. And
Right.
so that's how much it pushed me. That's how much it that's not what and my plan was I would retire honorably out of the army. And then what I was going to do is I was going to hire a hit squad to go kick these people's asses. But you know what? I had to go through counseling, and that's not going to work because you're still going to have the same issues if you did that, and
Right.
you might even get in more trouble. And I had to work through that. That was a hard time to work through, but
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to. And so I didn't know, but I could just write about it and talk about it and express it. I did it in counseling, and maybe that'll help. And that's kind of how I want to process that various hideous, wicked time. that even sometimes flares up in my mind, even right now. Sometimes it'll come. It's getting better because I'm talking about it in your therapy. Just talking about it, expressing to Amanda or anybody out there about these things helps me out. It helps me out. It helps me gain perspective in life. Yeah.
That is fantastic. How's your relationship now with your daughter and with your family?
Oh my God, my daughter. So my daughter, she she read this damn book that I wrote, "Soldier Against All Odds," which nearly damn near killed me. But she was proud of it, and she's my greatest critic. I mean, if she's gonna, she criticizes me over everything. But that's a daughter though. But when she started, she during the spring break, she started taking notes, and I saw it in her car. She says, "You know, Dad, I'm taking notes," and she wrote down notes. I'm still trying to get that book from her that she wrote the notes down in because I want to see her notes. But she read it and she studied the damn thing. But everything's fine, right? Everything's cool. Everything's at that time when we were going through these pedophilia charges and all that bullshit. Well, just accusations. I couldn't talk to her about that because she was only 7, 8, 9 years old. And
Oh, poor kid.
but now she looks back and sees how it affected me, and so she can see these things. As a matter of fact, probably grew closer with my daughter with this book by writing it out, which is kind of strange things occur. I didn't know that was going to happen. I was just doing this pretty much to get the stories out about a lot of things, but she really enjoyed it a lot, and I think now she wants to compete with my book and try to make a life even more exciting with me. It's like, oh God, I don't know if I want you to do that. But she's a competitor, and she's probably thinking, well, I'm going to do more exciting things than my daddy did. But that's just my thoughts on that. Yeah, but no, everything's all cool. But we stay together, and during those times of hell, you got to look to your loved ones really. And just hold on to them. And if you know you're doing the right thing, but see, at that time, the people in the government, they were trying to kick my fucking ass. They were trying to kick me out. And I thought, I felt I was betrayed about my own organization at the time. And I felt that I just I've never been hit that way. And, but when I go to that chapter, I had to change names. The names have been changed in that chapter. Also, to go through this book and to give you credibility, I also tell you the sins and the failures of my life and the adventures of my life in an honest way. So when I go to that, the very sensitive thing that I just talked about, that you'll know that I'm trying to tell the truth about everything, which is very, very hard in life. I know that you've written a book, and to put that thing out there, and then to understand that, well, people might see you differently, and it's vulnerability. It is a tough thing to do, to be vulnerable and to open up and to say, this is what happened, the good and the bad and the ugly. And that was the most difficult part of the book, really, is just to open that up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're talking about all of this, I know that you've had to overcome a lot of stuff. Do you have words of encouragement for other people that need to overcome or compensate for, like, the personal humiliation, the frailty, the delicacy of life when they have these false accusations being thrown at them?
Yeah. You got to stay on the high ground. And the high ground, you got to stay on the moral road. Don't let them take you into the gutter, which is really difficult, very difficult to do. Don't let them take you into the gutter. Understand that years later, you're going to learn from something. You're going to learn from this. You'll learn who to stay away from. You'll learn who to trust. You're going through hell. I understand that. But try to stay away from the gutter, which, trust me, that was really hard for me to do. It was like really hard for me to do. I wanted to go into the gutter with them. But see, if you go into the gutter with them, a pig loves to fight in the mud. And if you go into the mud with the pig, all you're doing is fighting with the pig in the mud. That's where they want you at. You don't want to go there. You got to take the high ground. And whatever that high ground means for you, that's where you go. And trust me, it's so luscious to just to want to get into the mud. But really, what happens, I think, if you get into that's where their game is. That's where they're going to fight you. That's where they're going to kill you. And I almost been there. I almost went there. Matter of fact, me and my father, wanted to kick the shit out of somebody, and we got a baseball bats from Walmart, and we were going to beat the shit out of him
Oh my
in Jacksonville,
gosh.
Florida. It was in February 2010. His name was Ted. Well, I made up the name, but no, we almost went to that route to do a whack job on him, and I almost went to the route to do a whack job on my after. So I said no. It was an instinct. I said you know what? If they've gone to this damn length of pedophilia, subversion, espionage, there's all kind of computer crashes, weird. If they've gone to all that route, that they're pretty damn ingenuous. They're pretty creative. If I gave them anything to get me on, God, then they would they would really get me on it. So I just had to avoid that, which was so damn hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to not want to get revenge on people when they've done you dirty like this. Because I mean, this is a really, really great example of how somebody can just do you dirty and just not even bat an eyelash. It doesn't bother them at all. And trying to get revenge on them in some, underhanded way where you're not, threatening their life, most of the time it doesn't even faze them. They still just don't care.
Yeah, so you got to understand the pig in the mud. They've been doing that for a while. It ain't just
Yeah.
you, probably. So they're more experienced at it, and so you get shocked, and you get shock and awe, and like, oh my
Right.
God! And then so your reaction is, but if you go there and you're not experienced to be in the mud like them, you're gonna get your ass whooped, I think. But so
Right.
that's what you don't want to go that route. I mean, because that maybe not be who you are, and therefore you're going into a different zone that you're not experienced at doing, and there's a high percent chance that you're going to fail somehow. I think. Well, I've thought this out a lot. So I think, but I thought this out a lot, a whole lot. I told, but so I just thought I just couldn't. I can't go there, and you got to stay true to who you are, whoever you are, and that's whoever your heart is. That's kind of what you need to kind of go for. Yeah.
Right. And it's so important to make sure that you're focusing on staying true to exactly who you are, exactly like you just said, because the only other thing that's going to happen is you're going to alter who you are as a human being in order to try and get revenge on these people that have done you wrong. And in that, you're going to become somebody that you don't want to be and somebody that you don't like because you already don't like the people that did it to you. Do you really want to stoop to their level?
Yeah, and exactly, and that's something that
Yeah.
was hard for me to go through, and I even had to talk to professional counselors about that subject.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you're getting it now for 5 minutes on but yeah. So, but no, I had to work through all that, and damn right, and so I know it hurts, it's hard, and it's bitter, but you have to somehow work through it. I know what I did for a while as I worked. I visualized these things in photographs, and I worked through it through an elliptical machine on the gym. And what I would do is I would cry and I would laugh on the machine. I would allow my emotions to come out on a physical machine. Some people, they'll walk and they'll think, or that left, right, left process for me allowed me to express my emotions. I might cry, I might laugh, I might, just, get angry on the machine, and I would allow it come through. But everybody has their different techniques of how they want to process things, and
Right.
so that was just me. That's how I did it. But yeah, that's exactly right.
That's pretty cool. I like that you found healthy ways of being able to work through it eventually. It took a little while to get there, of course. Uh,
Oh yeah, I was drinking Jack Daniels and I wanted to go down there. I had a knife in my hand, and I wanted to go down there and slash tires and cut wires, and that's not going to work. I mean, I don't know how I got around that, but I didn't do it. And but I definitely wanted to do it. I definitely wanted to go. I could find these people on a computer. I could find their houses. I could hire somebody. I'm pretty successful in life, and
yeah.
I could hire somebody to do a whack job and send me the photos. I don't want to kill them. I don't want to whack. But no, all that stuff really, I'm still going to be living with me and what happened,
Yep.
and that's not worth it. It's not worth it going that route. You can dream about it and you can fantasize about it, whatever but don't do it. Just don't do
Right.
it.
Be careful and don't cross those lines. Once you cross them, you can't uncross them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Man, what a wild story. Do you know if they ever faced any kind of repercussions for what they did to you?
I doubt it very seriously.
Yeah.
If there's any repercussions about anything that they've done, and they've saw this book, and they know who they are. Other people know who they are with this book. The names have been changed, but they definitely know. I'm very
Yeah.
detailed. I'm pretty detailed on the book, and we have a small population of people in my profession, so I'm sure they know. I know somebody. I know, I know somebody who put a 1 star on my which okay, it's okay, cool.
Oh,
So I've got over 95 reviews, and most of them are like a 4.9. But somebody, I'm sure I'm pissed somebody off and gave me a 1 star. But no, but really I'm okay. But the book is the thing is that, but my life overall has been a success. But I think what sets my book up a little differently than most books, memoirs, is that it's not all blood and guts. I've only been to Afghanistan once where I saw blood and guts, but most of the blood and guts were the enemy within, meaning what we're
oh,
just talking about. It,
yeah.
it wasn't the Taliban. It was our own damn people that are Americans, that were soldiers. That was my enemy. That was more of my enemy. What we just talked about. These
Right.
were these were senior people in the military, and so that was more
Wow.
of my enemy than the true enemy, which was the Taliban, which I'm trained to kill. But that's kind of strange how the enemy within can be worse than the actual enemy out there in Afghanistan.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's so common too. A lot of people believe that the only enemy that you would face in the world are the obvious enemies, but 90% of the enemies that we have to face every single day are
Oh,
the hidden, the secret enemies. You know,
yeah.
you expect these people that are in your life that are supposedly on your side to be there for you, to have your back, because that's what you're trained to do, especially in the military. You got to have each other's back or everything falls apart. And when they turn against you and they just decide, oh, look, he pissed me off, I'm going to change his life forever. What do you do? I mean, it seems like it would be so overwhelming and difficult to be able to manage.
Yeah, it is very. I mean, it was very difficult. I had anxiety attacks. I went into the hospital. First time I ever saw a
Wow.
counselor was when I was a senior. The first time I ever got a negative evaluation. You know what? They could give me a negative evaluation. That's fine. Don't tell me I'm a pedophile, and don't tell me that I've been selling secrets again. So what I'm saying is, like, it went to a different level of being like vindictive, and that was broadsided at me. I didn't know how to handle it. Now, in hindsight, I feel that the details tell the truth. So if you're in those situations we talked about, I think if you could just try to relive it and know who, what, when, where, and why. Just who, what, when, where, and why, and just write notes or a journal, whatever type of language whatever broken English, who, what, when. The details do not lie. And the thing is, and I knew that at the time, but I was in such a state of how in the hell am I going to get through next hour, next day, that you couldn't even think straight. I couldn't. There's no doubt I couldn't do my job. I was just trying to survive. That's all I was doing on a day-to-day basis and watching my back and being paranoid. But I did a little bit of who, what, when, and where, and why. But it was very, very difficult to try to figure out or try to, if I could, and I tried to do that as best, but I couldn't. I couldn't really write. I couldn't even think. I was at that point of total anxiety, total paranoia on a day-to-day basis, thinking that someone out there is coming after my ass to kick me out for some reason that is totally bullshit. And so it's really difficult. But if you can do that and then give it to certain people, maybe, well, in the military, you give it to certain authorities like the investigation division, or you can give it to the chaplain, because there's certain people who have certain rights. They can get this stuff up. But yeah, hindsight's 2020. I did survive it. I would go about it a different way if I had. We all can look back and say how I can handle it differently, but
Right.
uh,
But at the same time, we also have to give ourselves grace because we can't predict the futures and we can't predict how we're going to react in a situation either. Yeah, and that's something that I face a lot of times. People constantly comment and say, well, if I were them, I would have. No, you don't know that that's exactly what you would or would not have done. You weren't in the situation. You didn't have to face what this person faced. You weren't in these scenarios, you know?
yeah, Yeah,
You
you
can't
don't.
do it to yourself either.
Yeah, you don't. Unless you're placed in those situations, and you just don't really know how you're going to react, and to be blindsided by different things, like
Right.
that pet that I've never ever in my life have been almost passed out angry for pedophilia. And that's like
Right.
that's my I am the great father. I am a wonderful father. I know that. And someone who doesn't have a kid wants to like do that bullshit to me. Oh my God. I almost passed out. And so I mean false accusations, they can ruin a lot of things.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's just I don't know if it's in on the television you hear, oh, this guy's going through an investigation and everything's okay, and everybody's handling everything fine. Well, I'd say, well, that's a bunch of bullshit, because if you're going through an investigation and you're saying everything's fine, we're just going through another investigation. I don't know. I can't believe everything can be fine with that, because I've been through one and it was hell. It was hell on earth. And I saw this television. They'd say, oh, well, this guy's got a, oh, everybody's getting investigated. No, well, they put it. This was private with me. It wasn't public. But if they put it on the television, that's even more worse, I would think, because everybody knows it. And
Oh
then
yeah.
and mine was more private, but people did find out. But it was more in that private setting of the military, and so, but I just laugh at these people like, oh, we're going through an investigation and everything. We're finally doing okay.
Right. Yeah. That's the face they want the world to see. And that is not the face of reality.
That's right. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I just like to turn off the news a lot. So
So what is your goal with your book?
my goal is to give inspiration and hope, and never quit to anybody, and no matter what phase of life they're in. And I know, Amanda, I read part of your book, and I always compare myself to other survivors and people of that nature, and I'm thinking, oh man, they're more of a survivor than me, and you compare yourself. And so, but no, really, it's really trying to put yourself and give your vulnerability to someone that no matter what phase. I think the book is just inspiration, hope, survival, never quit. It's that old thing, but I've kind of gone through it a different way. And with this, I think it's more of an emotional, a life roller coaster of events from a person in a uniform. And so I think that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, give inspiration and hope. Yeah.
That is very cool. And I love that you are doing that. I am going to be reading a small portion of your book at the end of this episode. I just want everybody to know that. I'm a big. But where can people learn more about you and purchase your book if they're looking for it?
Oh gosh, jasonpike.org, Jason Pike, like Pike Speak, jasonpike.org, like the Pike Speak. And yeah, that's where you're going to find my website. That's where you're going to find also how to connect with me, and you'll find how to get to Amazon. I'm on Amazon, A Soldier Against All Odds on Amazon. I'm Audible. So I'm on, also what this memoir is, not only is a national bestseller, but I'm on Audible and audio. So I am the voice. I'm the narrator. I am the author. You're getting it from the horse's mouth, everything from me. And so I think that sets it up a little differently. So yeah, jasonpike.org, and you'll find it there. Yep.
Awesome. And I'll make sure that I put that in the episode description too, so that people can easily find that, as well as we also have links to your LinkedIn page and your Facebook page. So pages, you've got two different Facebook pages.
Yeah, I've got, if you go back up there in Podmatch, you're going to find some other links. But yeah, LinkedIn, Facebook. I think I'm on Instagram, but there's a few other things. But no, I'm trying to get my social media skills up together. It's kind of hard. But yeah.
It's just not the easiest thing anymore, is it?
That's right. This everything. There's one thing after the other. Yeah, I know that. So, I'm better at expressing this thing, and I'm not much of a technocrat at all, but I'm trying to do that. Yeah.
Well, this is amazing. I always have one last question that I ask people before I let them go, and it is my absolute most favorite question of the interview always. What is one thing that you love about yourself that's not related to your physical appearance?
I am creative. I am very creative, which is not good which is not good skill in the Army. they want to tell you what to do, but I'm always looking around doing other things. I kind of wander around and I think a little differently. I'm creative, and a lot of people see me alone, thinking maybe I'm scratching my head. I'm thinking about something, how to handle a situation a different way. How do I? So I'm a very creative in June. So I think this book, I think this audio, this is speaking to my creativity, which I've probably capped down over the years, because in the Army you're just supposed to do what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do what you're told to do. And now I'm out there. I'm kind of ODF, out there flapping, and I'm out there in the wind. And so I'm like, oh man, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Maybe I'm going to have a movie. I don't know what I'm going to do. Hell, this is all creativity. And so that's the thing about me. I think a lot of people don't know. And it takes me a little longer than most, but I'm a Forrest Gump, maybe a Forrest Gump number 2. So that's what I'm working at. Yeah, that's what I love that shit.
Oh my gosh, Jason, this has been amazing. You are so much fun to talk to. I hate that my episodes are only 30 minutes long right now.
Oh, it's all right. I can keep on going as long as you want. So just get the best out there for the audience and the viewers, to give them inspiration and hope, and no matter whatever they're in, Yeah.
Well, since you're such a creative guy, I have a feeling there's probably going to be more books in your future, maybe.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
if that happens, let me know. I would love to have you on the show again, and to kind of keep connected with you, and remind people of who you are and what your story is, where you come from, and how it is that you're able to inspire others.
Yeah, so me and my writer, ghostwriter, I guess. Everybody's got a ghostwriter. Hell, I can't even write. I failed the first grade of English. English is my word. But no, so what we're trying to do is we want to, it's more of a self-help guide for veterans to get their benefits, and of the Veterans Administration, and how to find a way to get their deserved benefits. And so this one shouldn't be this book shouldn't be as much of a problem as the first book, but it ain't going to be. I mean, the first book was a soldier against all odds is a hell of a task. There's no doubt. But this book, we have other resources, how we can help other veterans, and give stories and things of that nature, make it more humorful. A self-help guide is kind of boring. I'm like, okay, go here for that, and do this or that. So, but we want to put it in a way for the average, maybe the below average person like myself. So put it in a way that to explain how you get your veterans benefits, and try, a lot of veterans out there, they think, well, I don't deserve it because, you know what, I wasn't out there with the combat people. Or they'll say,
Right.
well, I don't deserve it because I didn't do this. Well, guess what? You served, you deserve. But a lot of them don't think that. There's a lot of them out there that don't get their benefits because they just don't feel that they're obligated to it. And I think that's a bunch of bullshit. But I'm going to try to put it out there in my own way of how to do that, how to get the benefits. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Fantastic. I actually know several veterans who have had exactly what you just said. They either believed that they didn't deserve it because they weren't in combat zones, or they believed that at the time they didn't need it, so they weren't going to use it. Several people that I know have had to deal with being lied to by some people within the military, saying, well, now that a certain amount of time has lapsed, you're not entitled to these benefits. And that's just not the case. People do need this help. They need to hear this information.
Oh yeah, and I've seen the other self-help books, and I'm pretty cool with it. But yeah, I want to put it in a way, a persuasive way, in my own storytelling style of why you need to go through this and why you do deserve this, and that you're right. For example, a lot of people think, well, so if you don't think you need your veterans benefits because somebody else served in combat, okay, let's just assume that's your thinking or whatever. Well, guess what? That means if you're going to think that logic, that means you should not take your Social Security benefits because you served in an office that had air conditioner. But there's also construction workers out there that served their Social Security benefits that worked out there on the line, like out on the asphalt. So therefore, that means you shouldn't take your Social Security benefits. But they're both earned. The construction workers' benefits were earned, and you were earned in the air conditioned office. So I mean that logic. I don't think that logic because Social Security benefits or veterans benefits, you earned them. Why in the hell don't you take them?
Right.
That's,
Right.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, I have to agree. My grandfather was Navy. My dad was Air Force. My husband was Navy. I mean, all these people, I've seen all these people go through stuff in their lives, whether they were in combat zones or not, where they're physically limited now because of something that happened during their tenure in the Air Force or in the military. And it's insane to think that they are of this mindset that I'm not going to take that because it's a handout. It's not a handout.
It's not a handout. You earned it. You deserved it. Now they may have been 3 years in the Air Force, or sometimes I call that the chair force, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. And so it's like, okay, I was in the Army. I was in blood and guts. It doesn't matter. You've served. There's a definite period of time where you served. You served honorably or not, even less than honorably, and that means you deserve it. And it's like just like anybody like was in the Social Security benefits, they earned it. Whatever they did, they earned that. They should take it. Hell, you ain't gonna save the government. Your honor to the military. You're not going to be so much. I'm honorable because I'm going to save it for. You ain't saving shit for nobody. Like, you ain't saving a damn thing because the government's going to pay. They're gonna spend their ass off on all these other. So you just go ahead and get your benefits, and that's just kind of how it's supposed to go. But it's really hard, and I've spoken to a lot of people, and they think, no, blah 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 blah.
Oh man, your energy is just great. You are just off the charts fun.
Wonderful. Yes. Whatever I can do to help your viewers out and your podcast out, I'm willing to go for it. I can have other episodes. I have other types of stories. I've almost died in shit. Really, literally in shit. I mean, drowned in shit. There's all kind of wild stories out there.
My gosh.
So, yes. So you could have various episodes of this thing. So yeah, I can go from PTSD to drowning in shit and just all kind of wild arrests, ass chewings, I've had multiple arrests even as a senior person. So yeah, we can go different routes on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell you what, I want to jump on this quickly. Send me an email, if you will, later on today. And we'll see what we can do about getting you scheduled, because I'd love to have just another chat with you and get another episode out of this, because I love talking to you. I think this is amazing.
Yes, we can do that, and I'll send an email. Say, hey, here I am. We'll work this one out. We'll schedule something in the future. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Colonel. I've never talked to a Lieutenant Colonel before. Lieutenant Colonel Jason Pike. What an awesome dude you are.
Oh, thank you very much. And you don't have to call me Lieutenant Colonel because I get paid. The payment of my salary means a whole lot to me, and I don't care about Lieutenant Colonel. I just care about my pay.
If you've enjoyed tonight's episode, please make sure you check out the episode description. There you'll find links on how you can learn more about this guest, links to connect with them on social media, and how to support the podcast. Remember, I don't get paid to do this. My boss is a bit tight-fisted. I can say that. I work for myself. In short, this show really is all about the guest. If you've enjoyed their interview, please feel free to let them know. You can also tune in to my other podcast, Growth from Darkness, which is co-hosted by a lovely lady from Australia. We talk about what trauma responses are and healthy ways to move beyond the past. For more information, just go to growthfromdarkness.com. You can also follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/growthfromdarkness.